It was really a very interesting conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. But we have another panel waiting by, so let's go straight to that. The big headline last week was the real estate market. First 6 months of 2020 turned out to be the worst for India's real estate sector in a decade. That's what the data from Knight Frank indicates. They spoke about a 54% drop in residential sales and a 46% fall in launches in the top 8 cities. Irfan Razak, the chairman and managing director of Prestige Estates, and C Sharma, the vice chairman and managing director of SOBHA, join us now to decode what's really happening in the industry. Gentlemen, thanks for waiting by patiently. Mr. Sharma, I want to start with you first, because the last time when we chatted, you indicated that demand is actually picking up. But now Knight Frank tells us that there's a steep fall in sales across the cities. Where is the disconnect? Is demand picking up only in certain pockets?
Good morning, Sonia. See, while we do agree with what Knight Frank had come out with, that report about the residential sales and launches, along with the office absorptions, our view had been and continues to remain that while the demand had contracted, it is about time that the consolidation we take advantage of. It is about time that the people who have got access to liquidity, people who have got the compliances with them, they should be aggressively pursuing in this environment to see that they gain the market share. So when you look at that, the launches have been reduced by 90% and the sales have come down by 84% as per this report. We have achieved 650,000 square feet from the 10 cities we operate, which is roughly 70% of our normal sales. And going forward also, while we are in the lockdown now in Bangalore as well as in Pune, even in this month of July also during lockdown, I see sales happening almost on every day in Bangalore, and I remain reasonably positive that our second quarter also operationally should be better than the first quarter. This does not take away the challenges, which probably we'll be talking a bit later, but to derive a conclusion that the demand is completely gone, we do not agree.
No, Mr. Sharma, actually the Knight Frank report is not saying so much about residential as it's saying about commercial. And up until a few months back, it was the commercial part of the business that was actually holding up. Look at the numbers in Bengaluru for commercial. And I wanted to come to Irfan Razak on that. Bengaluru records 50% of surrendered office space led by the IT sector in the first half of 2020. It saw 3.5 million square feet of office space surrendered in this period. Vacancy levels in Bangalore office market is at 6.5%, up from 4.5% in the previous 6 months. And IT has reduced space taken up in the city by 64% year on year. Mr. Razak, these are eye-popping numbers.
Morning, Lata. Yes, now see, Knight Frank has done their job. It's their job to make reports. What the veracity of the report is something that
you don't believe the numbers?
No, it's not about believing or not believing it. As I said, it's well prepared. I don't know how much of research has gone into it, but then you see, reading numbers out of context also sometimes gives a very skewed feeling on the ground. If you really ask me, in the last, of course, with the pandemic, last 3-4 months, businesses are looking at consolidating, businesses are looking at how to reduce their overheads and all of it. But in spite of it, it's not as though, of course, leasing won't happen as it normally was happening. Like you said, yes, it was the office space was one component of real estate that was really booming and doing well. As of now, today, rents are being paid by all office clients, and we've got near 98% collections. And as far as if you ask me, have any of your clients surrendered space back to you? The answer is an emphatic no. And if you answer again, if you're asking me, listen, have you been able to lease out new spaces? Yes, we have. In fact, we just closed out the large transaction. Of course, that's been cooking for some time. And now we've delivered and handed over about 660,000 square feet to Accenture recently and signed the lease deed. And very recently, just last week, I can't name the client, but we've signed up a large space in CBD for 300,000 square feet, and at a fantastic rate of rent. Now, these two, both the rent number as well as the client's name can't be talked about just now, but in time it will come out. So it's not doomsday, but yes, what will happen is the take-up of space for the next 6 months or maybe even for the next 1 year will be gradual. It won't be running off into millions of square feet like how it was earlier.
Mr.
So
Razak,
we'll have to tighten our belt and wait for things to pan out.
Got that. So this is important what you're telling us, that rents have been paid by 90% of your clients and no one has surrendered space just yet. But have rentals fallen in June and July compared to what it was in, say, the preceding 6 months?
No, there's no renegotiations of rentals at all. So the question of rentals falling doesn't arise. And of course, when the new leases do happen, there will be some hard bargaining, and depending on the space availability, depending on the pressure that you have to lease out of the space, each company will decide what is best for them. But I don't think there will be any drastic reduction in pricing. Actually, honestly, it is firmed up. But then it's too early days. We need to look at it properly, and we need to really see how things can pan out in the next maybe 4 quarters. I won't even say 2 quarters. But the leasing of office space is here to stay. It's not as though it's going to vanish. The demand will come back with a bang. But right now, the world has to stabilize. The world has to get on its feet. And at the moment, none of us are on our feet. So that's how things are.
Okay, Mr. Sharma, we are completely out of time. So a quick reply from you, sir. I know you serve the residential space more, but your comments on the office space. IT results have been good. Work from home has clicked, and therefore there could be more offshore jobs than onshore jobs for IT companies. Do you see commercial sector picking up already, troughing out already, or is it still a hope for the next second half?
Lata, the answer lies in your question itself. I have been maintaining and telling that India's IT strength remains at this point of time one of the key growth drivers in times to come. There, the IT companies will start even recruiting as well number of people. Of course, at the same time, this work from home kind of a concept we cannot do away with. So it will be realignment, as Mr. Irfan was telling, that while the new leases may take time and there may be certain adjustments in the rentals as well, but going forward, the belief on both the office space as well as on the residential space, the core demand remains intact. And going forward, those who have got the ability to withstand this transition period, I do believe that they are going to do significantly better in the next financial year.
Yes, sir. Well, we can go on, sir, but on another day in another show. Thank you very much, Mr. Razak and Mr. Sharma. We wind it up on Bazaar. Chartbusters in a minute.